that? There he is, Essential Moving Experts. We thank Sean Williams and the boys, great sponsors of our program and this segment. Good morning, Joe. How are you doing, sir?
Good, buddy. So you're in Canada, eh?
I am in Quebec today for the next 2 days. We're here to see Alter Bridge, and then we'll leave tomorrow morning down to Montreal, and then we'll see Metallica on Friday and Sunday. 2 Metallica concerts, nice. And then flying back on Monday. So, yeah.
Never seen Metallica in person. Enter Sandman is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's the best pregame song that any college football team has. Virginia Tech has that on a Thursday night. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Mariano Rivera had it every time he would come out to the mound for a save. It was Enter Sandman. So yeah, it's amazing, and it's going to be awesome because it's 2 nights and 2 completely different sets.
Wow.
So yeah, we're going to probably see a total of like 45, 50 songs in 2 nights. Plus we get Mammoth, which is Eddie Van Halen's kid, his band. We get Pantera, we get Five Finger Death Punch, and Nine Ice Kills. So 2 bands open each night too. So it's a total of 5 bands in those 2 concerts, plus Alter Bridge tonight. So that's 6 bands in 3 concerts. So we're going to have a little fun. You know, I worked my ass off last week in Canton. So I got to, once in a while, since I started this platform, I haven't taken a vacation, Joe. This is kind of like my vacations while I still do this at the same time. So I got to enjoy myself a little bit here. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm glad you're able to do what you love.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely one. Sports and music are definitely my main passions outside of my family, my dogs, and maybe crypto too. All right, let's get to it, my brother. Should we worry about any of the injuries? Do you know anything from Waddle to Jeff Wilson to anything else going on? Anything looks serious to you, or do you know anything about it?
No,
I know they're very quiet.
There's no information this morning about Waddle or Wilson. Neither injury appeared to be catastrophic, but we're certainly holding our breath and waiting to see. No reason to run Jalen Waddle out there in the preseason anyway. So as long as he's ready for the regular season, maybe a few snaps in the 3rd game. But other than that, he was kind of holding his side, so it's hard to know what is that. Is it oblique? Is it ribs? Is it groin? We don't know. I don't know. But as always, when you don't see the information, you get a little more worried. You want to see that information come out quickly.
Right. Yeah. So hopefully he'll get back to practice, next week, and everything will be, kosher, and they'll just move on. I'm sure we'll find out down the line what the hell is going on. Did you think Mostert and Wilkins was more about rest than anything else?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, because it didn't look like Mostert got injured before that, right?
No, not that I am aware of.
Okay. All right. Your thoughts on the O-line. What have you seen? What disturbs you? And tell me, when the hell are we going to see Kendall Lamb at right tackle and Isaiah Wynn at left guard?
So Kendall Lamb, his focus has been more as the backup at left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd have to look up how much right tackle experience he has in his career.
Yes.
Some guys are very particular about left side, right side. Some guys are much better left side, right side.
1,000% right.
Yeah. So like Aboihi has done most of his training on the right side. And
Brandon Shell couldn't play left side. It was like night and day. When you would put him on the left side, the poor man would struggle. And then on the right side, he did a very respectable job for Miami last
I would say that Liam Eichenberg is probably no longer favored to be the starting left guard, just based on what we've seen in practice, what we saw in the joint practices. He has a long way to go to reach what I'm sure is his personal standard. And then at right tackle, Austin Jackson is still giving up a few too many plays in practice. And so it'll be really interesting to see what alternatives they explore. I think they really want Austin Jackson to be the starting right tackle.
Of course.
Could they add somebody? I mean, I guess a boy. You mentioned Lamb. I still think it's more likely than not that Jackson is given the opportunity at the start of the season at right tackle.
Really? Wow.
Well, I mean,
It's just that the whip.
you're going to Way or Lamb there, huh?
Yeah, I would put Lamb there and then have Jackson as my swing, but technically not a real swing. If the guy on the left side gets injured, I'd move Lamb over to left and then bring Jackson and do whatever. Because Obuehi has not done anything to say, oh yeah, no, maybe that guy. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm sure that this is why I told people that they weren't going to kill themselves for Dalvin Cook. If it was a tackle or a guard, they would have killed themselves. They would have signed the guy right away. They would have traded for the guy. If there's a lineman available, I can see the Dolphins making a move. Not for a running back, but for a lineman, yes. And they just don't become available. And, Joe, I think a lot of people, and I mentioned this to Marcel, and I mentioned it to the listeners, everybody in the division has offensive line issues.
Yeah.
In at least
the Jets have been terrible.
In at least two spots. Every one of these teams have at least two sore spots on their line. And this is a problem everywhere except Philadelphia and San Francisco, to be quite honest.
Almost just want every team who's not horrible.
Right, exactly.
As long as you don't have a glaring, obvious.
Right, exactly. And the problem is, you talk to any of the scouts that you know. Ask them about scouting now offensive linemen in the college level. It's impossible. They don't develop road graders anymore. They don't really know who's the guy that can run block. Why? Because they're all pass blocking. And on the snap, they're all running downfield already, which you can't do that in the NFL. There's a lot of things that just have the game of college football has changed, that it's made it harder for them to scout. And this is why we have offensive line issues everywhere in the NFL, dude. You know what I mean? I think the smart teams, Joe, are the ones that draft linemen every year. Doesn't matter, bro. Draft a lineman every year. Why? You're always going to need them.
Eichenberg was really good in college as a left tackle. He had sound technique and fundamentals and gave up very few sacks. How does that translate to left guard in the NFL? It kind of doesn't. It kind of hasn't. Austin Jackson was a developmental upside, big-time athletic left tackle in college. He actually put some pretty decent stuff on film as a rookie at left tackle, but it just didn't hold up. I think he's got a chance at right tackle. Neither one of those guys is overly powerful. The one thing Jackson has going for him is athleticism.
Yeah.
But he really needs to refine the technique. He's been working on footwork and hand placement. We all work to get better, but he's been working for a while.
Yeah, no, it's there's no more excuses anymore. There's no more time to wait, and the season is right around the corner. And I would imagine that some changes are coming after this game this week.
This offensive line coach doesn't give a crap. This Butch Barry guy. All right, now I don't know if he's a good coach or not, but I know he doesn't give a crap about where you were drafted,
right? How
much money you make. If you suck, he's not going to put you out there.
Right. Which is the right thing.
And, yes, Frank Smith is involved in that decision. Yes, Mike McDaniel is involved in that decision. But if Butch Barry says, I am not putting Liam Eichenberg on the field, I don't think we're going to see him.
Right. Yeah. Well, at this point in time, I think they need to start, experimenting with others as starters. We'll see when that ends up happening. Were you kind of shocked that there was no orange jersey? So kind of sending a message, nobody was good enough yesterday?
Yeah, that was very interesting. McDaniel said that the players were very annoyed at the results of the first practice. And Big O, I'll tell you, I watched those one-on-one O-line versus D-line drills at the start of yesterday's practice, and it wasn't perfect, but those Dolphins offensive linemen played with fury and anger and passion. They were throwing guys down to the ground. You love those drills. And I did at least appreciate the intensity. Connor Williams hasn't been great. I don't know if he's got contract on his mind, but he needs to be really good for himself contractually and for the Dolphins to hold up along the offensive line. So, but at least they played with passion, energy, and enthusiasm. Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson, for example, two very, very, very nice guys. But this Butch Barry wants people to be nasty and mean and aggressive. Teron Armstead, very, very nice guy. But when the snap happens, he turns into a freaking monster.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what this Butch Barry guy, I think, is looking for a little bit more. It's interesting. Mike McDaniel used the word edge, and he usually talks about fundamentals, technique, execution, and being smart, and all that stuff is true. So I thought it was interesting that McDaniel said he wants some more edge. And you say, okay, who are the edge guys, right? We've talked about alpha and all that stuff. Who's like Javon Holland, okay? Javon Holland wants to kick your ass and then chew you out on the field. He, alpha, man. I mean, this guy. Who has Vic Fangio complimented publicly? Only two Dolphins defenders, Javon Holland and Christian Wilkins. Everyone else is working on their game. Well, why? Because those guys bust their ass. They are very.
Those guys are studs, bro.
Those
guys are freaking studs.
It means so much to them, right? And so it's just going to be really interesting to see who brings edge for the Dolphins on offense other than Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Has Elijah Campbell won the starting safety spot next to Javon Holland?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's a guy who Vic Fangio likes. Mike McDaniel went out of his way to compliment two under-the-radar players recently. One was Elijah Campbell. One was Cameron Good, the defensive end from Cal.
That's my boy.
I think he was a 6th or 7th round draft pick. Yeah. And so that tells you something.
I liked him last year. I thought he would make the 53, and I was actually shocked that they hit him on the practice squad all year because I like him, man. He's got size. He's got length to him. He's got athleticism. It looked like he was lost last year, and this is a different system, but maybe it fits him better or something because he's looking – or maybe it's just a second year. Now things maybe slow down a little bit more, and maybe he did his homework in the offseason and kind of understands what teams are trying to do. But I really like Cameron Good. I thought it was one of those guys that could come under the radar, and since they need linebackers, that would be really good if that guy can step up.
Yeah, some depth, certainly some depth, and Elijah Campbell is a dog, no doubt. He would.
So is he at least
he would chew off your left arm to start in the NFL?
Is he turning the second turn on a race and he's a couple lengths ahead right now? Maybe he hasn't won the race, but is he leading right now the race? Would you say that?
I still think that they signed Deshaun Elliott for a reason. And the thing about Vic Fangio, like Brian Flores, Josh Boyer, a lot of packages. So there will be a role for Elijah Campbell, but I don't know that it started.
Okay. So you think Elliott will end up winning it when it's all said and done?
I mean, as far as I've seen, he's gotten most of the first team reps. Now, of course, his good friend Brandon Jones is coming back from injury. And, Brandon said that he's not as fast or explosive as he'd like to be at this moment. And that's kind of telling.
Yeah.
That's kind of telling.
Yeah, it's not fair to him right now. He's really behind. If he's going to win this job, it'll be during the season. Because, blitzing, see, I don't know how good Elijah Campbell or Deshaun Elliott are going to be as blitzers and against the run. But I do know Brandon will, get his nose dirty in the run, and he is a terrific blitzer. So
the question is coverage. Deshaun Elliott's a little better in coverage, and he also can be a big hitter. So Elliott is a little more advanced in his career.
For sure.
And is a little more accomplished than Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, we hope that he's not a, Brian Flores scheme-specific player.
Now, you said Deshaun Elliott is getting more of the snaps, but who's the guy that's been making the most plays?
Were you talking about Elijah Campbell? Yeah, I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Have you seen more Deshaun Elliott plays or more Elijah Campbell plays?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Honestly,
The
some of the
practices
guys
I've been to, I've seen more out of Elijah Campbell than I have out of Elliott.
How many have you been? How many of this summer practices? A couple?
Like 4.
4.
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't say that I've seen a huge. I don't have much on that.
No? Okay. All right. From the little I've seen, Elijah has kind of stood out to me a little bit more, and that's why I think he may have a little bit of an edge when it's all said and done. I don't think he's going to make the team anyway. Maybe practice squad again, but the Braylon Sanders, at least it was good news. He'll be back next week. I think he's a little behind right now, right at the wide receiver spot.
The Dolphins?
Who's the 5 or 6? Who's the 5 or 6 that are going to make it right now in Joe Schad's eyes?
Dolphins depth chart. All right, let's go through it. Obviously, Tyreek, Jalen, Braxton.
Right.
All right, those are the 3 obvious. Then you get down to Chosen, Izukama, Craycraft, right?
So then, no, but what happens with Wilson?
Right. He has to be on the roster.
Yeah, they have no choice.
The only thing is, can they trade him for like a 5th-round pick
but
around the start of the season?
They're going to have to pick some salary up.
I mean, I would rather keep Cedric Wilson on the roster. He's been better in camp than he was in the season. Not perfect. He's listed as second team ahead of Braxton Berrios. I don't believe that. I think part of that might be, if we can trade this guy. Yeah.
Right. It's just, it's showcasing is what.
So Craycraft is a special teams guy. So you have to think that he'd be ahead of Braylon Sanders, even though Braylon Sanders is a guy who could get plucked from your practice squad. But Craycraft is a system guy. He knows this system and has been with McDaniel before. Craycraft listed as second team behind Waddle, ahead of Robbie Chosen and Izukama.
Have you seen enough from Izukama now that the pads have been on? Because he
not a ton, but I think he needs to be on the roster.
Right, he was flashing before without the pads. And then now the pads have gone on, and we don't.
He's a drafted player. I have a hard time seeing him not making the roster. I mean, he was drafted last year in the 4th round, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he's been so bad that you're going to cut him. So I think he's on.
Okay. All right. The experiment on the offline tight end with getting Higgy with it, and obviously the other kid is not even playing yet. So he's had his share of injuries, by the way. He's barely played, and he's dealt with injuries last year and this year. I would worry about that already with this kid. But has it been too up and down with getting Higgy with it?
No, I like Elijah Higgins. 5th team on the initial unofficial preseason depth chart, but he's clearly ahead of injured Tanner Connor, and he's done more than Tyler Croft and Eric Saubert. So I don't think Croft and Saubert are locks to make the team. It's going to be interesting to see if one of those guys, maybe Saubert. I haven't checked into the guaranteed money.
I got a question for you.
Guaranteed
money. Are you saying that?
You have to look at the guaranteed money.
Okay. Are you saying that, Joe Schad, because Higgy started showing a little blocking the other day? And so is he just a pass catcher like the other kids considered, even though he thinks he can block also? But the other 3 guys are considered, the all-around solid tight ends, Saubert and Croft and Smythe. They're considered like the solid catchers, blockers. So Higgy the other day did pretty good in blocking. Is that something that makes you think that it might cost one of the other 3 guys their job?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you that I have an evaluation on Higgins' blocking. I do think that it's my perception that he's a very worthwhile developmental prospect. I also have noticed here, according to Spotrac.com, that Saubert's dead cap would only be $850,000, which is not that much. And I'm trying to find Croft. $25,000.
Yeah, I think I was going to tell you that Croft is the odd man out of the 3. I don't think Saubert You know what I was impressed with Salbert? He was bigger than I thought.
He's a big dude. Yeah, he's big like that. COVID dude, the guy that wouldn't take the shot and got COVID for the first game. Can't remember his name.
Yeah. I know
the guy who likes guns and didn't take the vaccine. What was his name?
Yeah. I remember him. Yeah,
the guy from the Bears. He's big dude like that.
Yeah, just not as injury prone as that guy from the Bears. That was his problem more than anything else. It wasn't about the vaccine or anything. He was just.
And you know what's interesting? They're from similar schools, aren't they? We gotta figure this out. So Saubert is just Drake guy, right? I think that's right. Which is a basketball school.
I'd be lying to you if I remember.
The name of the dude? Let's see. COVID Dolphins tight end. I can't remember this guy's name.
Somebody will come up with it on the chat board.
Shaheen.
Yeah, there you go.
Adam Shaheen. All right, let's see. Reference. He went to a school that's sort of similar to Drake. Let's see. Ashland. There you go. So it's funny because obviously Chris Greer likes the SEC and the Big Ten and that sort of thing. But there are a lot of dudes on the bottom of the roster from Texas A&M Commerce.
Smaller schools.
Cool. I think that's pretty cool that they do both. They go for the blue bloods in the draft, the Jerome Bakers from Ohio State, the Tua Tagovailoas from Alabama, but then they also really try to find the kid or Kohus. And I find that interesting. These guys' stories. I'm publishing a story in tomorrow's Palm Beach Post online and in the paper about this dude, Aubrey Miller, an undrafted linebacker from Jackson State, played for Deion Sanders, started his career at Missouri, 4-star recruit, former Mr. Tennessee. This dude told me that he wants to make a big hit on the opening kickoff on Friday night. And that's the chance he has to make the team. And so, for a lot of these guys, they don't want to play in the preseason. I don't think Mike Gesicki was thrilled that he was playing so much in the preseason last year. But he needed the reps because he was trying to figure out this new offense. And McDaniel said, look, it's not a punishment if you're a starter. Like Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg are going to be out there, aren't they? They got to be. They got to be. They got to be out there.
They got to be.
Right? So what do you do? So if you put them out there tomorrow night, do you also put out Connor Williams, obviously not Teron Armstead, Connor Williams and Robert Hunt? You go with 4 starting offensive linemen for a couple of series? I think so. Why not? Right?
I can see Armstead not playing, everybody else.
No. Yeah, but the other 4 guys,
yes,
you're on board with a couple of series with, let's say Mike White starts this game and Skyler the next.
Yes, sir.
McDaniel wouldn't tell us who's starting.
Yep.
But
all right, I know I got to let you go quickly here. What's going on with Dalvin Cook? Because
happy birthday, Dalvin.
I still think he's going to sign here when it's all said and done. With all the bullshit that went on, I still think he wants to sign here. Now, I thought he would have signed last week, but
I know. I'm hearing Jets.
Why?
I'm still hearing Jets.
Why?
I'm just telling you what I'm still hearing.
I know, Jets. but why would it be Jets? He would have signed already. So
unless he doesn't want to practice.
Exactly. So is that what it is? He just wants to get through a couple preseason games, and
I think the Jets are. I think the Dolphins are fine at running back. I think A-Chain has really created some enthusiasm.
So you're agreeing with me now? 5 to 10 carries a game
for A-Chain?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a weapon out of the backfield, and they want to use Mostert more in the passing game.
I've been saying from the day he drafted, 5 to 10 carries a game that guy's going to get.
And they can both play slot receiver, and they can both do all sorts of creative things.
Yeah.
So I mean, this regular season can't get here soon enough, man.
Amen.
This Chargers thing, man. Who's going to stop? Who's going to block Bosa? Who's going to block Bosa?
Oh, that's easy, bro. Obuchi, whatever. They'll put him out there and he'll stonewall him. That's all.
Who?
Obuchi or whatever.
Boy?
Yeah, that's it. He's ready to shut down Bosa, bro. All right, what do you got going on the Palm Beach Post quickly so folks can check you out?
Go online, read what I wrote about Mike White. Mike White from Pembroke Pines, 20 minutes from Hard Rock Stadium. Obviously going to play tomorrow, might start. We don't know. Probably split time with Skylar Thompson. Got off to a slow start. Big O, he's been hot. All right.
He's number 2 right now.
Not a lot of guys look great against the Falcons. He was very encouraging. We like that Mike White is coming on. So read that and look for that Aubrey Miller story about how the preseason means everything to this undrafted player.
Well, we figured it out. If there's nobody on the practice facility and the place is empty and it's just you guys, Mike White doesn't want to impress you guys. That's what he does to all of us. But now you bring in the crowd, and Mike White says, now it's time to ball, and he has separated himself, and he has become the number 2.
Tua mentioned that he's a smart dude in the quarterback room, and so, maybe he doesn't have the experience of a Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Teddy Bridgewater, a Jacoby Brissett, but Mike White is a smart dude, and he's having a positive impact in the quarterback room.
Yeah, I think Teddy is also a really smart dude, too. I just think physically he just lacks what you need at this level. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe and catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post. Joe, as always, appreciate you, my brother. Thank you.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you, sir. I definitely will. A little Ultra Bridge tonight here in Quebec. Essential Moving Experts. Call my guy, Sean Williams. They'll take care of you. 844-368-5750 is the toll-free number. You can also call them there at the 386-213-4054 number. Long moving services, home moving services, long distance moving services. Their home base is in Daytona, but they service all of the country. So it doesn't matter if you're moving within the city, within a county, within the state, from state to state, across the county. It doesn't matter. Office relocation. Plus, they'll give you on the house. If you're moving from one house to another, but you need to store your goods for a week or two or up to a month, they'll do it all on the house. So your office, your home, you need to store this stuff because the next place you're moving to isn't ready for another week or another month. You can do it. Now, if it's longer, then you can negotiate a price. But they will do it up to a month on the house. And flat rates, no surprise charges. Call my guy, Sean Williams, 386-213-4054 for EssentialMovingExperts.com.
This is the